We have changed the definition of what good is in order to please man. And we've changed it in a way that everyone will marvel at it and respect it and truly believe that it comes from God. What am I talking about? We could go ahead and give to the poor. We could clothe the naked. We could visit those who are in prison. But the same person would turn around and would not feed their children the right word, would not clothe their spouses with the love of God, would not visit those people that have forgotten God's goodness, but forgets them. We love to do these things in order to make ourselves feel better. And we grab people as some kind of consensus in order for us to dictate our actions. But that is not the way we do things in God. There's already an order set in stone. There are statutes, ordinances, as well as commandments. And in all those things, we still have a continence and we still have a spirit, all of which guides us and reassures us the direction in which we're going in, if it is right or if it is wrong. And just like something that is right, we even put our own definition on that. What is right to us is sometimes what feels good versus what's in the Word of God. And that is the greatest problem with man. Because as we continue to act as gods and we start to move things around and we start to change behaviors and we start to justify our actions, we realize over time that it doesn't work. And when we see that it doesn't work, then we start to blame God. And we start to say, well, I've been doing right and I've been doing what you told me, but look what happened. But God says in the Word of God, even in Deuteronomy, it speaks about loving God with all your heart. It is essential. If we look at Deuteronomy 6, it says it best. It says, now these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments, which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that you might do them in the land whither you go in to possess it. That thou mightest fear the Lord thy God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee, thou and thy son, and thy son's son, all the day of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thy heart. The question that I pose to you all, the listeners of this video, and to everyone really, is that how are we loving God? We're loving God with our heart, but is our heart pure? Pure as children that have heard the word of the Lord and refuses to touch it. They just abide by it. Where do you stand on God's precepts? Are you loving him? Why do I say this? Because if we love him, we will do what he tells us to do. We don't need someone to rewrite the Bible in a different tongue and common English for us to understand. No, we seek for excuses in order to do things, because everything that's written in the Word of God, even from the commandments, even from the Old Testament, is simple and plain to those who want to understand. And the Word of God teaches us that the gospel will be hid from those who are already lost. You're not lost. You're here for a reason. I know it seems like it's tough and impossible, but what does the word of God say? It says that you shall follow everything from the commandments to the statutes to the ordinances, everything. And you shall love the Lord with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. Yet you've heard time and time again that that's impossible. There's people who have built churches on this foundation. It is impossible to have a perfect marriage. Maybe after the third time, maybe after the fourth. It is impossible to follow what God tells us to follow. Look at the people of Israel. They faltered and failed. How much more you? Well, I'm here to tell you there's something called the faith and the Spirit of God. And just because they also forget to tell you how they forgot about those things, they wanted to draw themselves away from those things. It shows us in the Word of God that when they listened to God, everything went well with them. But when they were disobedient, that was their downfall. That's when things got worse. And did they stop themselves? No, they absolutely didn't. Because you know what? An act against an evil work is not executed speedily. Which is why they decided, you know what? Nothing's happening to us. Let's keep doing it. So where am I getting at? No one could have chastened the other person because everyone wanted to do something different. And what happens when you do something different? It's kind of like your eyes are enlightened. But is it enlightened to something good or something that's evil? When Eve took of the fruit, her eyes were open to know good and evil. And she gave it also to her husband, which was Adam. So what I'm trying to say here is something that seems very good as the knowledge and wisdom of this world. We must excel in questions, and we must be able to have science, and we must have all these things in order. God simply said, if you would trust and believe and serve me, he says, I will prolong your lives on this earth. He says, even speaking to Israel, but we all know that we're all his children. He says, if you will serve me, I will bring you into a land that is good. He didn't mention about their jobs. He didn't mention about their education. He didn't mention about their status. All he said was to serve him in spirit as well as in truth, and he will do the rest for you. We have people who have so much money, so many possessions, but that doesn't mean that they're happy. Contentment comes from God. It doesn't come with the multitude of things you will get. Why do we worry about things that we cannot get by ourselves? You said it yourself. I'm unable to do this because of my education. I'm unable to do this because of my situation. I'm unable to do this because of my life and my upbringing. So allow God to do it. Don't spend your life praying for something that you clearly don't have the faith to get. But wait for God, and he will renew your strength. Where you shall mount up with wings like an eagle, where you shall run and not be weary, and you shall walk and never faint. Look, this is all I have to say. I hope you listen. Because we are here to listen to God. We're not here to get money. We're not here to build up a strong house. We're here to serve God. And although things may be the most chaotic within your lives at this point, maybe even when you're hearing this message, it doesn't change your purpose. The purpose is not for you to please man. Your purpose is to please God. And he shows us that if you please God, he can also turn around and please man. Simply by you following and obeying his word. God bless.